Hello, this is the Dove Lady again, and I want to read something to you from a book that I have as a PDF file that I paid for, and I can't copy it, but I'm going to read a little bit from it. It's a book called Consciousness and Energy, and it's by Penny Kelly, and I hope you won't mind me reading just a few paragraphs of it, because the work I do with the orbs is, I think, associated with what she is talking about when she talks about plasma. She worked with a man called Levengood, who measured what he called charged energy pulses, which would register as a little line on a graph, and he could tell the energy level of anything, be it a plant, or a piece of metal, or a person, or whatever it was. Everything gives off an energy state. And certain things you do increase that energy, and it shows on his graph when he does his experimentation. He did a lot of that with Penny. So I want to read just a little bit here let me get it closer up. It was Niels Bohr who proposed that energy is whatever it is measured to be, for example, a wave or a particle, and that it could not have specific properties or be assumed to exist in a given state until it was measured. With this statement, Bohr was questioning the primacy of objective reality and opening the door to the possibility of subjective influence. The particle could exist, but the observer would have a direct effect on it by measuring it, because the act of measuring transformed the wave into a particle. The scientist's decision to look for a particle in a particular place caused the particle to appear in that location. If he decided to look for it in another location, it would appear in that place. It seemed that the particle was always ready to appear in any of numerous locations, with whatever spin was required for that position. This then led to the concept of superposition, which says that during the time that we do not know what the state of an object is, it is actually in all possible states simultaneously. If this is true, then reality becomes whatever version or possibility we decide it will be, and all things are possible. Today we are moving deeper into the paradigm that began with quantum theory. Perhaps it will be known as the quantum era. It is one thing to postulate that consciousness creates reality, but it is something else altogether to actually develop the capacity to witness and measure that consciousness as it does so. Levengood. His research furthers our understanding of quantum theory and the nature of reality. Although he is not the only scientist helping to move the scientific sector forward, his work offers a critical breakthrough. There is a form of energy out there that responds directly to consciousness, both individual and collective. The ability to track and measure the interaction of consciousness and this energy brings with it an entire array of new possibilities. And this is the key that opens the door to a world that is far different from the one we currently live in. By discovering a form of energy that responds directly to consciousness and intent, it not only adds weight to the theory that consciousness and energy are interchangeable, the two sides of one coin, it indicates that reality truly is whatever we decide it will be, and we are responsible for what we create. Of course, many in the New Age movement have heard this before. It is exciting to discover that we are creating reality, but the task is not as simple as may first appear. As soon as we look to check the position or condition of something, some inner bias, fear, expectation, or core perception automatically goes into operation and fixes the situation in that position. The truth is that you cannot create anything other than the way you already are. You have an energy configuration that is specific and unique to you. It takes tremendous will, determination, and repeated attempts to create something other than what you are, because energy is consciousness, and you must use your energy to create anything. Thus, it becomes obvious that you must change your consciousness before you try to change anything else. If you do succeed in creating something that is not a match for your current consciousness energy system, you will likely have to expend a fair amount of time and energy to sustain it. This might be discouraging, except for several factors. The first is that Levingood's study of charged density plasma, that they call that CDP. It's a measurement of, like I was saying in the beginning, of a change in energy in anything that he could measure with a device he had. The first of that is that Levingood's study of charged density plasmas in the human body provides evidence that the body is a collection of plasmas. The second is that the energies forming these plasmas are directly affected by consciousness. The third is that a plasma is a collection of loosely associated particles whose energies can be raised from a ground state of existence and function to a higher state of existence and function. The fourth is that all things seek to raise their energy state to higher, more efficient, and more powerful levels of function. We are programmed to evolve. Taking the first of these game-changing theories, let's say the body is a collection of plasmas. A plasma is actually a unique form of matter that is very different from the usual solids, liquids, and gases we learn about in school. A useful description of plasma is that it is a collection of ionized particles, both positive and negative, that always respond as a group. A plasma will respond quickly to electromagnetic fields and will move around, taking various shapes in response. An example of how powerful a plasma can be is found in lightning. Lightning is considered to be a plasma that responds to the electric fields and EM charges of the Earth. A plasma is usually an amorphous field, but as you see when lightning strikes, it can change quickly from a soft cloud into a streaking beam of particles that reach out through space and infuse intense energy into something, such as the Earth. To review what David Bohm said about plasmas, he likened plasma to a flock of small birds that fly together, changing direction with flawless timing, as if they were of one mind. Perhaps you have seen one of those plasma lamps at a local retail store. Although the photo below is much different from the lightning described above, you can see the fingers of light reaching out from the center of the plasma. And she showed there one of those plasma things. You put your fingers on the glass and you cause the little streaks to come from the plasma onto your finger. Now I'm going to skip down to another part because I thought that was very interesting in that whatever you want to create, you can't believe that it will be just like things you already know, because that is your fixed ideal that fixes your thought so that it will become just that. You have to be able to think outside the box, because you're going to use your consciousness, and your consciousness, if it's fixed and set on certain ideas that we're just born learning from others and that we also add to with our study, we get these ideas that cause consciousness to be what we think it will be. And that's why when they look for where the atom was, or it would be where they thought to look. But really, it's in all space, all at the same time. Now, I'm going to read another part. In my experience, and this will tie in with some of my orb pictures. And this is what made me so excited. In my experience, beings from other dimensions of life have highly developed consciousness, and this is the basis for their ability to appear and disappear, to navigate through vast expanses of the cosmos without mishap, to create perceptions, erase memories, plant suggestions, and change the shape of environments, as well as the nature of experience. This is the reason they have advanced technology and tools. They are not loaded down with angers and fears, biases, or the petty need for vengeance. They accept and have learned to work with all things. The inhabitants of their civilizations have done the deep work of personal transformation, and this is why they have evolved as far as they have. They consider us to be totally undisciplined, misguided, and more dangerous than wild animals. I have to agree. Throughout this book, I've referred to people from other dimensions of life using various names: ETs, beings, alien beings, extraterrestrials, star people, and those people. When I list the variety of labels for them, then I look at that and I'm reminded of the labels that we have put on African people, American Indians, Mexican people, Muslims, and others we don't know and haven't cared to know. However, it is time to get to know one another, including our own other dimensional neighbors, because we have grown past the simple consciousness of children and stepped into the greater cosmos of highly conscious beings. From time to time, I hear someone talking with great fear about the people from other dimensions of life. They talk about how sinister they are, about their agenda, and about how we are being invaded and manipulated. At times, I think it is sad that people are spreading distrust and fear. Then there are times when I think perhaps the fear is appropriate. Depending on how we handle it, we may be about to get a taste of our own medicine. What medicine is that? You could probably call it cowboy karma. When we came over here from Europe, we invaded the quiet, relatively peaceful world of millions of people who lived in North America. We disrupted their tribes, took over their lands, destroyed their food supplies, betrayed their trust, deliberately introduced ugly diseases, and slaughtered them by the thousands. The biggest reasons for this behavior were our arrogance, self-righteousness, ignorance, greed, and the fact that we had superior weapons. We are not the only ones to invade and conquer over the landscape of history. The Mongols did it, the Gauls did it, the Japanese did it, the Romans and the Persians did it, the British did it, and many others could be added to the list. It is one thing to invade using sticks and stones, but it is another thing altogether to invade using atomic weaponry. With sticks and stones, we could be ignored and left to hurt one another as simple primitives. This kind of fighting stays within its own dimension. However, atomic weaponry affects the plasma structures of many dimensions, disturbing and destroying things that we have been totally ignorant about. We can have atomic weapons if we like, but if we do, we are going to be introduced to neighbors who share our planet and are quite willing to intervene in how those weapons are used because they don't want trouble or problems in their neighborhood. These neighbors possess a highly developed form of consciousness, which suffices as a superior weapon. They don't want to intervene, but they also don't want trouble. Thus, we find ourselves in a position similar to the position we put the American Indians in. Okay, go. I had to let my dog out of the room. Okay, now where was I? They don't want to intervene, but they also don't want trouble. Thus, we find ourselves in a position similar to the position we put the American Indians in. We may be dealing with beings who have forms of weaponry and technology that are largely unknown and unavailable to us. The result is that we will have some serious choices and changes to make. The other being who live in and around the earth, as well as the 5 ET civilizations who came together to seed a garden world experiment here on this planet, a world where all life is integrative and everything supports or feeds everything else, do not want to see their work collapse in self-destruction. One of the commitments that higher beings make is the commitment to cooperation and peacefulness. It is almost impossible for a civilization to survive long enough to get to advanced stages of development in consciousness and technology without this commitment. Why? Because those civilizations who do not make such a commitment end up destroying themselves with their aggressiveness and stupidity. Thus, alien beings will defend themselves, but they work hard to maintain a careful balance that seeks to cooperate and nurture life. Often they will work with leaders as a form of distraction while working in the background to evolve the common population. We did something similar when we took Indian children away from their parents and tried to educate them according to European ways and attitudes while making useless treaties with their leaders. Now we are facing the old truth that what goes around comes around. Our children are not being taken away, but many of them are being altered in utero, using the advanced consciousness of those who want us to learn to nurture life. Will this make our people different? Yes, and over time it will change the world. When Levengood first asked me to write about his research, he was passionate about what it was revealing, and I felt it was important to where we were going as a people. At the time, I couldn't imagine how crop circles would be relevant to our path here in this reality, but he was right. His discovery of charge density plasmas and the fact that they are affected by consciousness is critical to us as we try to build a new worldview that offers a better sense of who we are and our potential in the cosmos. The bottom line is that consciousness directly affects the subtle, formative energies of all things. We can begin to create a different world if we are willing to change what we do with our consciousness. We must learn to use consciousness to take care of ourselves and restore life to our planet. We are only beginning to wake up to the fact that consciousness and energy are the two sides of a oneness. As pointed out earlier, consciousness is the feeling capacity of energy, and energy is the motion aspect of consciousness. The more powerful the consciousness is, the more powerful the energy and motion of that consciousness will be. Like muscles in someone who lifts weights, consciousness can be developed and expanded to include capacities that today would seem miraculous. The joy and beauty of the source state, the true role of consciousness is to create experiences that allow the inherent joy and beauty of the source state to shine through. Of all the challenges we have in front of us today, this is the most critical: how to increase the power of consciousness through the processes of personal development. It is a task we must embrace soon or go the way of past civilizations into the dust. The third game-changing factor is that a plasma is a collection of loosely associated particles whose energies can be raised from a basic ground state of existence and function to a higher state of existence and function. This promises new capacities in terms of energy and power, and it will make it easier for us to maintain new levels of consciousness. If physical matter is a collection of plasmas, and we raise the energy level of those plasmas from a ground state to a second or third or fourth energy state, the physical matter will reorganize into a new pattern using the energy from the higher energy state. When this reorganization is complete, the matter will hold new information and will have new potentials, characteristics, and abilities. Leavengood's work with seeds and water has already shown this to be true. Anything that is in a ground state is in its lowest energy state, which is referred to as the S state. An example of a change in state is found in the shape of a hydrogen atom. Now this is where what I discovered in the Orbs comes into consideration, because I think I'm getting the hydrogen atom in my pictures of orbs. In its ground state function, you see a simple sphere. However, if you raise the energy of the hydrogen atom to the second energy level known as the P state, the state changes from a simple sphere to a shape roughly approximating the shape of a barbell. If you raise it again, whole new configurations take shape and new particles appear as part of the hydrogen atom. Each roll in the chart below shows hydrogen in various energy states. The top roll shows it in a ground state, and each roll after that shows what happens to the hydrogen as it moves into higher energy states. It changes its overall shape and configuration, and thus in function and power as it moves up. And there she's using that chart that I have shown in many of my videos of the hydrogen wave function. Now, I'm going to take you over to, let me bring this smaller. Okay, you see this little thing with circles around it right here? It's not showing up real good in this one, but I have a lot of even better pictures of this. That, I think, is the hydrogen function of being an orbital. And then they even, that's not too good, let me find a better one. They even make patterns where they look like the self-propelling of the subatomic particle, which is this woven effect. And I think I've caught a lot of hydrogen orbitals in my pictures of orbs. And here's a good example of one right here. That one right there. Put my finger, put my pointer on it right there. And right there. You can see part of one. And I just have several of them. They're not showing up as good as I wish they would. I have thousands of pictures of these orbs and such things going on in them that look like what scientists are talking about. Now see, there's a simple one that is like unto this one right here, up there on the top roll. That's just a sphere with circles around it. But see, down in the second roll, it looks like the barbell. And in the third roll, the barbell has two other little lights on either side, and then there's the one that looks like a four-leaf clover. And then it just starts getting more complex. And I think I've captured some of these orbitals in my pictures. And there's the strings. That's one I have of the strings coming out of holes, which would tell me that the string theorists have hit upon something that might be. And this is my own discovery, and I will talk about it a little here, just in case Penny gets this. I would love her to look at this video. I hope she doesn't mind. I read some from her book. But also what I'm seeing in the orbs is this little X-looking thing that I've got a communication about that came to me through a file. It was written into a file I had on my computer. A very personal little statement to me about what I'm looking at. And see here, it looks like X's, dark X's. That's how it first looks before it makes the curved lined. And then see that turns into these curved line balls. You see they look like a little ball, but you never see the complete ball. There's two of them that touch, and they stretch and get long, and they finally get so diffused in the orb that they mix in with other things. See, there's some there. Just the beginning of it. And I look at this, and there's 3 of them coming together, and you see they have a lot of curved lines and there's one very beautiful example. And there's some there. I've just got picture after picture of them at various stages of them doing this. Now, what is important to me is that if I'm seeing this in the orbs, then I am looking at the hydrogen atom and things that are happening in this subatomic realm of light. I don't know why I'm able to get these pictures, and I'm just real happy that I am. And the message that came to me, some of you know what it is if you listen to my other videos. I talk about it in a video I call, what do I call it? Well, I'll put it in the sidebar. I forgot the name of it. But anyway, the message said that this curved line balls are what energy looks like when it's turning into matter, and that it was it's intelligent energy. Everything is energy of some sort and has intelligence, but this is I think, a very high intelligence, because it could work with me in the way of being a message on my computer. It told me things about myself that I had told no one. And it talked about how I would be able to bring a manifestation of what it is I believed I could do in the form of bringing something out of the ethers, bringing something out of seemingly nothing. And it was real exciting to me that it knew a thought I had in my mind of what I would create if I could create from the etheric. And I always thought this but never told it to anyone, that if I could create anything, I wanted to make there be a silver platter with gold apples made of pure gold. And it said that is what I would bring forth, and that I would get help in doing it. And I haven't given up, though it's been over a year since I got that message. But when I read this, that Penny wrote about energy, wanting us to perceive it in this way, that it is intelligent and it will work with us, then I got real excited all over again and just wanted to share this with everyone. And I hope to get a hold of Penny Kelly and get her to look at these orbs, because there's all kinds of things the energy in the orb is doing. And this is just one of many things it does. I must have thousands of pictures of this. I would love to share with someone of a scientific mind who might also have some special ability to understand this sort of thing. Anyway, this is the Dove Lady. Over and out for now. Talk at you later. Bye-bye.